In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. Today, I'm going to have on Tasheen Collins. He was on one of my first guests when I first started the podcast, and I'm bringing him on again because he has a lot of information for us. He's been very busy this past year, doing some big things. So we're going to bring him on here in just a minute. I want to give a shout out to Peacemaker Coffee Company. If you like good coffee, low acidity, check them out. Peacemaker Coffee Company. They're out of Toledo, Ohio. A good buddy of mine, Chris Morris, is making it. If you can see this, I don't know, the light's no good. There's a QR code. Well, didn't get it. Anyway, podcast is for newbies and newbie entrepreneurs and real estate investors. We're here to keep y'all motivated, keep y'all going, keep y'all doing your thing. So come on and check us out every once in a while. Get your motivation from others struggling through this like we are. So I'm going to bring in Tasheen and see what he's got to tell us. How's it going, Tasheen?
It's going amazing. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being on again, man. You were one of my first guests, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Definitely. I'm glad to be here today. Glad to be able to appear again. And it's definitely been a journey and been fun since the last time we spoke. So
cool. So tell us, remind us who you are, where you're from, and what communities you're in.
So again, my name's Tasheen Collins. I'm out of the Western New York area, out in Buffalo, New York, doing business in the New York market. I am a foreclosure expert and really just a strategist when it comes to helping people through solving their problems or helping investors like myself to solve problems that we encounter in this journey.
Yeah, and he is definitely a problem solver. I see him all the time in the daily dials. He's always been one in there, taking action, getting involved, helping other people through their struggles. So he really is. And in this last year, he's blowing up ever since. He's got some things going on. So tell us what you got going on. I know you had a big announcement. So you want to start with that?
Got a couple things going on, couple big announcements. We are officially going the non-for-profit route. So we will be opening up a non-for-profit to serve the communities that we're in, such as, the Sub 2 community, also being able to serve additional communities like Alchemist Nation, which is another community, amazing community that I'm a part of. And just being able to, get back our freedom, get back our control, and really be in control of the things in which we own and the things that we acquire to serve communities.
That's awesome. So what made you decide to get into doing that?
So they commonly say that you find a solution out of necessity. So we were in the middle of negotiating to acquire a building that used to be owned by a religious organization for about 60 something years. They sold this building to a private owner. And once they sold the building to a private owner, anyone who was a private owner lost the protections of a religious organization or non-for-profit organization. So they were subject to all sorts of codes and variances and zoning and planning boards and all of that kind of stuff. And we went the amicable route to begin and tried to negotiate with zoning and planning and code enforcement, and they didn't want to hear anything that we had to say and pretty much told us we would rather this building be vacant and subject to squatters and not receiving any tax revenue from this building before we allow you guys to to provide affordable housing.
That's amazing. They'd rather it sit there vacant and not bring any tax revenue. This is your government, people. Yep.
100%. And these are, on the lower ends of government. These are the governments that we actually have a say in who's sitting in those offices, who we're actually paying. Anyone that has a non-for-profit entity, or anyone that's paying any sort of taxes, you are paying people's paycheck that just said they'd rather a building sit vacant and be subject to vandalism and squatters before they allow someone in the community to serve the community through that building.
Right. That's just crazy. I mean, I don't. It makes absolutely no sense.
100%.
So
But
go ahead.
I was going to say, but when has government ever really made sense?
Never, but we look to them to make sense, don't we? That's our fault. So you're starting a nonprofit that to because you're purchasing a building and you're going to need the nonprofit to cover the building and your zoning issues and get your local government to take some action and do some stuff. What
100%.
kind of daunting task is it to start a nonprofit? Someone say getting into this, what would they have to do to start looking into this?
It can be a very daunting process. What I'll tell you is there is power in relationships, there is power in adding value, and there's power in integrity. The reason why I say this is because just 3 days ago, when we were trying to solve this problem, when we were given this problem by zoning, we were on the phone with a homeowner that was buying a property, retail buyer, buying a property that was about to possibly make a bad real estate investment. I
Mhm.
got on the phone with the homeowner. I got on the phone with their agent. I sent them both to a little bit of real estate school and stopped them, or at least put a hold on them making this investment until we got some additional paperwork via the inspection report on this property, because it had foundation and roofing issues. And they were about to buy it as a retail buyer with a 6.8% interest loan.
Hmm.
So, had some conversations with them. They were also already thinking as an investor. They were buying a threeplex on an FHA loan. So they already wanted to be an investor and were moving smartly. We began speaking, and in the course of our conversation, the wife of the retail buyer had actually mentioned her W-2 job was to help people start non-for-profit organizations and get them funding from state and federal government.
Hmm. That's cool.
So simply by helping a retail homeowner avoid maybe making a bad investment, this individual who does this for a living has now offered to assist us in navigating the daunting process, and also assist us with writing grants for our businesses and any business that we are connected to.
Just one little connection.
One connection, one conversation, one person.
And it's opened up all these doors. All
Uh,
this opportunity. So again, express how important networking is.
Networking, listen, I'll tell you this. Everybody tells you contacts. Everyone, we always hear about, your network is your net worth. This is a
Mhm.
phrase that we actually use with all of my friends. Contacts equal contracts. Get the contact first. Worry about the contract later. The contracts will come because of the connections. Connections lead to contracts. Don't lead with how much money you're going to make or what is going to go into your pocket. Lead with integrity and adding value and simply helping and being a steward of your community, and your community will be a steward of you.
And people, you need to listen, because Tasheen, I mean, he struggled hard in this when he first started. For how many years did you go through this, not making any deals, just keep going though? You kept going, you kept at it.
I was in this industry paying mentor after mentor to figure this out for 2.5 years before I had ever found this community. And then once I found this community and I got active in this community, it took me about 60 days to close my first transaction with no money out of my own pocket and netting myself $8,800 profit on a building that I had never even walked into.
And that's just, and this community he's talking about is sub 2, and we'll have the link in the description. I'll have a link in the description if you want to look into the community and join. But sub 2 is been a great community for helping people. Pace Morby has taught and has taught, inspired, and helped many through the community. So, but let's get back to Tasheen. What else? What with so this building? What are your plans with this building you're purchasing?
So the plans with the building is we are going to provide almost like a social senior center, where senior citizens that are low income, that had, maybe they don't make enough social security, but they don't want to live alone and they're still able-bodied, will be able to reside in this location for affordable housing. And we will provide services like Meals on Wheels, Medicaid, Medicare, having people come in to assist them with getting all of those services. We will also be providing credit restoration and investment education.
That's awesome. So, I mean, wow, that's just a whole lot right there. So, did you see yourself doing this 3 years ago? Did you see yourself in this position?
I did not. I did
What did
not see myself in this position. Quite frankly, 3 years ago, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't want to work for anybody else anymore after working for the Department of Health for New York State as a independent contractor, and just being jerked around, right? We went from making 27 an hour to 45 an hour, to having our position changed, to being decreased from 45 an hour to 35 an hour, being laid off several different times due to the COVID needs, and then being brought back. And it just simply showed me that it didn't matter how much money I made or who my employer was. If I was not signing my own paycheck, I was a day away from being broke and destabilizing my entire lifestyle.
So, and now you don't have to worry about that. Now you are self-employed and starting a nonprofit, looking at buying a building in New York City, and he's just taking off. It's just starting. He's just starting, people. So
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, we've already purchased a primary residence with no money out of our own pocket and no bank loan or pay stubs and
okay, we
tax.
got to hear this story. Tell me about this one.
So December of 23, December 22nd, I believe 3 days before Christmas, I closed on what is called a subject to transaction, or buying a property subject to the existing mortgage in place. We were able to acquire a property that was going through foreclosure. There was $90,000 in debt on this property, $30,000 of missed payments, and a little bit over $55,000 in a principal mortgage balance, sitting at 3.125%. So we came in, we reinstated the mortgage for 30 grand, none of my own money. I want to clarify for the viewers, when people tell you you can buy a deal with no money, it's not. Your money is not being spent. We are spending somebody else's money by providing a value to someone who may have had to pay taxes on that money if it was not spent in an investment. So I just want to clarify that for the future viewers.
Yes.
Um, So we brought in an investor who brought actually about 40 grand to the table, which covered closing cost, covered reinstating the mortgage, and we also gave the seller 5 grand at closing and then a monthly payment by signing a promissory note and deed of trust of $250 a month for the next 5 years, allowing that seller to effectively make $20,000 on a house that the bank was going to take from them in 48 hours, displace them, leave them with no home, no capital, and destroy their consumer report.
And people say this isn't possible. This can't be done.
I'm telling you, and I will share here on this video, when I closed that deal, I had 3 bank accounts in the negative, over $1,000 negative in the bank when I closed this deal. And I was still able to close this deal in which I now, after all expenses, after $0 in cash flow, $600 a month with none of my own money, and I own 40% equity.
Oh, wow. So since the last time we talked, I mean, you've done a whole lot. You've gotten really busy. So I think you've only had a couple deals under your belt the last time we talked, and now you're just starting to you're coming across a whole lot. And again, it's all due to networking. But I see you out there all the time. So
100%. I mean, Tuesday, I should be solidifying the contract for the 16 bedroom building. Wednesday, I am meeting with a realtor, an attorney, and the seller for a 4-unit building out here in Buffalo, New York, that has an FHA mortgage at 3%. 4 units in the building. Each unit is a 4-bedroom, so a total of 16 bedrooms in this building. That building will also be owned under the non-for-profit. Going forward, we will not operate out of LLCs, C Corps, or S Corps. We will be operating as a non-for-profit for every building or every asset that we own, which means we will never be paying taxes ever again.
even hold on a second. You sparked an interest. Non-for-profit, you're going to put everything in non-for-profit from here on out, even single family, or are you still going to do single family?
Even single families.
So
We own.
tell me about this. So if you put a single family in non-for-profit, there's no taxes. You're not going to be paying property taxes or what?
No, we are not. We're not subject to tax as a non-for-profit organization as long as we are providing a service, at least one service for free. We are considered a non-for-profit organization and we are tax exempt.
Wow.
So
Is that just in New York?
this is nationwide across the country. So I will break down how my non-for-profit people broke it down to me. Every hospital in the country is a non-for-profit organization. Hospitals have to make money in order to keep having a hospital and to hire doctors and specialists and new equipment and whatever the case may be. The only service that a hospital provides for free is the fact that you can walk into the emergency room. The emergency room at every hospital is what classifies them as a non-for-profit. 10% of what they do is non-for-profit, the emergency room. The other 90% of their business is a for-profit business.
Oh, wow. So tell me, what service are you planning on providing then? What kind of service?
So the service that we are going to be providing is going to be, because we are investors, real estate education. We are providing education to first-time home buyers. We are going to be meeting with all of the local brokerages that are real estate agents, providing them creative financing education, subject to education, seller finance education, and on the for-profit side, that will funnel us so many real estate deals that we will have to give them to other investors because we won't be able to close all of them.
Well, I'm in that line. No. So,
Definitely.
man, wow, you really figured out something big here. Sounds like
100%. It's pretty amazing. We have a call this Monday coming up where we are going to be speaking with a private equity fund who has found me based off of some of the other investors that they work with. And they've actually offered me the ability to come on to their team with the private equity firm and have a monthly budget of $50 million a month that
Oh,
they need to spend on acquisitions. They have stated that if our community can show that we can bring them large commercial deals, RV parks, ports, things in other countries. They are buying internationally as well. If we can show that we can bring deals to them for them to fund within 1 year, they are offering the ability to give us our own fund with a monthly budget for us to spend.
well, what do you need to do, or what kind of help you need to accomplish that?
So, I mean, the more deals, the merrier. I mean, we're looking for commercial deals. We're looking for large multifamily deals, over 100 units. We're looking for business acquisitions, anything that, is on the high spectrum that most of us feel the price tag is too high for us to afford. Those are the deals we want so that we can underwrite them. We will get them underwritten within 5 days, give an answer after they've been underwritten, and we can get them funded about 10 days after we've given the answer.
Okay. I'm gonna have to talk to you after this. Not right after, but we're gonna have to talk. I got a building in I gotta get the address and stuff, but a building in Colorado. Now this brings another question. What markets are you doing? Are you just staying in New York, or are you doing this
Nationwide.
nationwide?
As far as the fund is concerned, they are doing deals inside and outside of the United States. They do deals internationally. This is not only real estate, guys. I want to be clear. We are talking about gold. We are talking about silver. We are talking about gasoline. We are talking about any asset that actually makes sense for the deal. The fund will fund those deals.
Oh wow. So this is a big deal then. How did you come across this? Was this all from shopping for the building and then finding out that hey, they're trying to squash me, the local government is trying to squash me. I'm going to have to look into how I can really acquire this building and do what I need to do?
So, as far as the fund is concerned, the fund actually came from another investor that I know that already is on the team with the fund that I have been networking with for the entire real estate journey that I've been on. And they've seen me grinding, they've seen me, bump my head, they've seen me grit my teeth, they've seen me keep going and showing the tenacity to keep going. And they were actually promoted in the fund, and they were given the ability to bring two of their own team members. And they told the fund, I know exactly the guy I want to bring. I've been watching him for the last 3 years. He doesn't give up and he makes things happen. And again, contacts lead to contracts.
Say that again.
Contacts lead to contracts.
And then what's the one that Alexis Morgan always says? Your network is your net worth.
100%. And I
So
tell people too, right? One thing I'll say is make a friend in the insurance industry. This is a quote we used to use all the time. Make a friend before you need a friend. Don't need the friend before you make the friend.
that's some good stuff. And all of this coming out. I mean, this is all blown up really quickly for you, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, because it's been less than 6 months since we've had our last thing, and I know you were still struggling. So tell me, let's hit on those struggles. If you would have given up, you wouldn't be having any of this fall in your lap right now.
100%.
So
Uh,
tell people what you had to do to not give up when you
I
were
mean, at the
facing.
end of the day, you just have to know what it is that you want, and you have to allow your why to be big enough to give you a reason to keep going. There are many reasons why I could have given up. There are many reasons why some people would have said I should have given up. However, I knew that the 9 to 5 life and the rat race life and being dependent on somebody else was not the lifestyle that I wanted for myself. And I tell people all the time, now that I am an investor and that I've gotten out of the job world and I see things from a different aspect, is it is not a negative thing for you to have a W-2 and have steady income. Allow your W-2 to be a silent business partner to allow you to become an investor with the stability of that income, and not to leave the stability of that income until your investments are generating 3 times as much income as you were making W-2, and you want it to generate that amount of income for a minimum of 6 months, so that you know you are not just in a honeymoon phase.
There you go. So tell me, did you do any other investing before real estate? Have you ever done like stock markets, cryptos?
I
You
have
ever just real estate?
just real estate. I mean, I threw some money at crypto during, COVID, but other than that, I'd never done any stock market. I had never done any crypto. I mean, I've always loved real estate, right? I feel like one thing that the public education system did teach me was that in feudalist society, if you didn't own assets, you didn't matter. And I believe we may have changed the name of the society that we live in, but
Mhm.
the objective is still the same. If you own no assets, you can't leverage the voice that you have, because you're not doing anything for the community to stand behind you. So once you begin to acquire those assets and you become the lord of that land, instead of looking at yourself as just a plain old landlord, now you have leverage because you have assets.
So when you wanted to get into real estate, what made you decide to do real estate then? You saw this as, were you thinking get rich quick? I can do this, get rich quick and take care of everything and it'll all be good?
I mean, since I've knocked my head around for 2.5 years before I even closed the deal, I realized that it was definitely not quick by
Right?
any means. I will tell you this: real estate statistically has made the most millionaires and most billionaires of any business industry that there is.
Mhm.
So, statistically, as long as you have the right team around you and you are not just doing things on your own, you will most certainly be guaranteed to get rich. You are not guaranteed to get rich quick.
That's awesome. So you mentioned something else, the right team. So tell us, you got a team behind you?
So I work with a lot of skilled individuals like yourself. Have I put together a day-to-day team yet, or day-to-day operations team? No, but I've understood the power of delegation and delegating to other people the things that they are good at that I am not.
Okay. So now you're coming up with this nonprofit. You're going to have a lot going on with there. So you're going to build a team for that.
Correct. So I'm going to have an operator that's going to run the non-for-profit. We're going to have a board of attendees. We're going to have all of those things that will run that. We will be a part of that as well. We will receive a annual salary from the non-for-profit as well, which will bring in that that stabilized income, like I was just talking, for W-2 individuals. So again, we're taking part of that as investors as well. We need stability.
Mhm.
So, we will have a team to run that. We'll probably also be looking to acquire a CPA firm, creative financing, because non-for-profits are not so fun when it comes to taxation reporting, because they're exempt. There's a lot of things that need to be reported in order to keep that exemption status.
Okay. So what's like the first step to starting up to getting this going, getting a nonprofit going?
So for us, there's 2 things that we can do. You can become a subsidiary of an existing non-for-profit, which means you basically open up an entity and you're working underneath an existing non-for-profit, which lets you become a non-for-profit pretty much overnight.
Okay.
Or you can go through all of the paperwork and the approval from the IRS and all of that to get approved. Of course, speed is the cousin of success. So we are looking to become a subsidiary of an existing non-for-profit so that we can expedite this process and expedite the closing. We've reached out to a couple of local churches in the area that we know understand this concept simply because of how they built out their church to propose becoming a subsidiary of their organization.
Okay, so let me ask you this: for other people that are looking to that are starting and are low on funds, do you need a bunch of money to get this started?
No.
Okay, so there you go. There's no excuses, people.
What you need is you need tenacity, you need integrity, you need the ability to communicate and comprehend, and you need to have the ability to understand that you are not going to get 100% of everything. You have to cut the pie. You have to give everybody a slice of the pie so that everyone wants to keep coming to make more pies so that you can get more slices.
Okay, so when starting this nonprofit, what kind of do you got to have? Like with an LLC, you have members, you have a board with other corp, with an S corp or something. You got to have a board. What kind of members do you have to have with a nonprofit?
So you are gonna have to have board members. You are gonna have a board of attendees. You gotta have a CEO. You gotta have a secretary. You gotta have So you gotta have pretty much anything that you would have in a C corp or an S corp. You have to have in a non-for-profit. So if you understand C corps and S corps, then you pretty much understand non-for-profits to an extent. Because you need the same type of layout. The only difference is you're offering one service for free in order to get yourself a tax exempt status.
Okay, and then so have you found a subsidiary one that you're gonna get under yet, or you're still looking?
I have not found a subsidiary. And keep in mind, we just started this journey literally last week as far
Okay.
as non-for-profit is considered. So I have not found a subsidiary that has agreed to partner yet, but I have a local organization that I'm targeting that I would like to partner with, because I know that they already understand the process. I just see the way that their business operations are ran. They are classified as a church. They have, a subway inside of their church. They have a coffee shop in their church. They have recording studios, libraries, daycares, schools. So I understand that they understand how this works. And I've watched them continue to grow in our community over the last 10, 12 years.
So once you have yours set up, now this is what's running through my mind. I can set one up here in Houston under yours.
100%. I would be
Well,
able to then start subsidiaries underneath me and allow the community to get access to not only becoming a subsidiary, but to get access to the grant writer that we are putting on salary. So the individual that did, bring all of this knowledge and value add to us, we are bringing them in. They are going to be on salary. And the beautiful thing is their salary is actually going to come from the funding that the non-for-profit receives from grants.
oh wow. Man, you really this is something big here. You really figured out something. I don't know. It sounds wild, and not hearing anything. You haven't heard anything like this in sub two about nonprofits, stuff like that. So this is a whole new area you're touching on. Yeah, you can. Have you thought about courses, training others how to do this?
So we did think about that. We definitely thought about courses. We definitely thought about sub two. I think for us, what we're going to do is build out a proof of concept first. And then once we build out the proof of concept, we will be going directly to Pace and his team and his organization and saying, listen, this is what we've done. This is why we did it. This is the hiccup. This is what it can bring to the community. This is what it can also bring to you, Pace, if you'd like to avoid paying, taxes. There's these options as well. And we are not talking about, to just clarify on the video, We are not talking about illegal tax evasion. We're talking about using the IRC, or the Internal Revenue Code, to legally avoid the responsibility of paying taxes.
Mm-hmm. And there's
Uh,
nothing wrong with that. People do it every day.
So, yes, we are going to put something together. Yes, we would like to coordinate with the Sub 2 community as well as the Alchemist Nation community, to bring this to the table. And we were actually speaking with another investor yesterday who had lunch with a multi-billionaire individual who actually found this strategy and literally put everything that he owns in a non-for-profit. And now when people ask him what he does, he says, I just practice philanthropy through my non-for-profits.
Oh,
So we are looking to get in touch with that multi-billionaire individual as well, and see if we can have, coffee or lunch with them, and see, what we can do to provide value to them while also learning from their experience.
that's it's just wow. It's just I'm blown away by this one, and I got a lot going through my head. Now you got me thinking. I got this building. Some friends brought me a building in Trinidad, Colorado. I don't know if you ever heard of Trinidad. It's a little city in Colorado on the southern border near New Mexico and Texas. And there's a building there. I like the little town. I always go there for vacation. So I'm gonna have to talk to you a whole lot more about this building and possibilities. And wow, the non-profit thing, and how you're wanting to do education, more education in real estate investing, which I think this is awesome in its in and of itself, because of the value it brings to people, helping people get out of the grind of daily life, and W2s that are stuck.
100%. And I mean, there's so many things, right? I was talking to a lady that I know that's a travel agent yesterday, who's also invested in a couple of properties. And come to find out, she tells me, she's like, yeah, I don't really have too much money to invest, but I've got 100 grand sitting in a money market account. Like, you don't have too much money to invest. You've got 100 grand. She's like, oh, well, I'm waiting on 2 settlements for lawsuits that I won, and that'll bring in another 100 grand. And I've probably got about 60 grand liquid sitting in the bank. I'm like,
Yeah, you're right. So after 3 years of networking, now things are starting to just fall in your lap. How it's
100%.
you got out there, you did the thing, you stayed persistent, and it's happening. And again,
100%.
I want to wrap my head, because there's a lot of people that will get in and do this, and then get to these hard points and quit, and not get past it. So what made you think, what made you get past the hard points and not quit?
I mean, I really had, for me, right? I just truly felt like I had no choice. Did I want to continue to worry about and be stressed about life? And a lot of it comes down to, religious points of view, right? So many people believe in God, so many people are, wholeheartedly devoted to their religion. But however, every religious book, regardless of what religion you are, that I have ever read, or anyone that I've talked to, says live life and live life abundantly. And I'm here to tell you, waking up to go to work for 40 hours a week, every day, every week, and do the same thing over and over again, to live the 40-40-40 rule, which is where you work for 40 years of your life for 40 weeks, or for 40 hours every week. And when you retire, you graduate with a 60% reduction in the income that you've been making for the last 40 years. Did I want to set myself and my sons up for that type of future, or was I going to do something about the future instead of just complain?
Right. So, but what was the deciding factor? What really got you kicked? What really kicked you in the ass to start taking the action?
I would say what kicked me in the butt was, seeing everybody else in these communities making money, closing deals, wholesaling deals, getting money, and really showing me that it was a possibility as long as I was willing to take the action. I wasn't seeing the result because I wasn't taking the action, or I wasn't taking enough action. Because some people
Wait. What was that? I wasn't seeing the result because I wasn't taking the action or taking enough action, right?
100%.
Right. So we can't blame anybody else in this when we start doing certain things, huh?
Yeah, you have to hold you accountable. And that is one of the biggest downfalls in this industry or in entrepreneurship, period, is that so many people come from a 9 to 5 world where they're structured and they're used to being told what to do, like a puppy being trained by a trainer, that once they're the trainer, they don't know how to train the puppy. And they are now the puppy and they don't know what to do. So therefore, they're like, oh, well, I don't have to make the call because there's nobody holding me accountable. I don't have to show up to the appointment because there's nobody holding me accountable. I don't have to pull the data because there's nobody holding you accountable. You have to hold you accountable. If you are born in this life broke, it is not your fault. It is the fault of the people before you. If you die in this world broke and you leave your future generations broke, it is 100% your fault.
100%. I love that. I love that, man. And then seeing you grow has been an amazing thing. And you are an inspiration. I want you to know that you are definitely an inspiration because I see again, I see what you're doing. I see the action. I see the posts. I see the content, and it's like Tasheen is growing. It's happening. This is true. And you have been the one. You have been one of the ones I focused on to help me through my hard times. You have been one that's like, okay, if he's doing it, he's making it happen. I can do this too. I just have to stick with it.
And I'll share one thing, right? Because you talked a lot about struggles, so I want to be transparent. I've closed a deal in December. I closed about 3 deals from October, November, December. Boom. Then I hit a dry spell and I have not officially closed a deal in 2024 yet.
Yes.
However, I'm working on closing a commercial building, which I meet with next week. I'm working on closing a 4 unit that I got from an agent that I was able to educate. And then the same agent the next day called me and he goes, hey, there's another deal that's a 5 unit that they've been trying to sell for over a year that I think would be right up your alley since you're a problem solver. So now we're going to be meeting on that deal as well. And then the fund came into fruition as well to be able to offer funding to people that need to close these larger deals. So sometimes what you see as a dry spell or a struggle is really just you going through the formation, turning the coal into a diamond so that you can now be considered a diamond mine instead of a coal mine.
All right. It's just prepping you for the next one.
So
It's all connected. It's all going to work out.
as long as you show consistency, the universal laws have no choice but to show up for you for what you're telling them you want.
Absolutely. And so for so long I thought that was all bullshit.
100%. And I mean, I see you got the tree of life behind you. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, everything is interconnected. Everything is about frequency. Everything is about just push forward. We focus on the negatives. We focus on the past. We focus on everything that is behind us instead of focusing on the vast possibilities of everything that's in front of us.
Absolutely. So here's what I want you to a newbie coming in. You're hooking up with a newbie. Tell them some things. What can you do? What can they expect? Give them a little advice. What kept you going? Something like that. I'm a newbie. I'm just starting out. Where should I start? What should I do? And where should I focus my time?
So as a newbie, I'll tell you this, you want to stop trying to do everything. As a newbie, what you need to do is locate the possibility of a deal. Locate the possibility of a deal and bring it to someone who has already been closing deals. The number one thing you're going to say is, what if that person steals my deal? Guess what? You don't know how to close a deal right now. You didn't have a deal to get stolen.
Exactly.
Take the
I
risk
love that. I
to
love
make the money. Take the
Right.
scared money, don't make no money. Find a deal. You're going to ask me, how do I find a deal? Contact an agent, call the agent, say, hey, set me up on a drip campaign. I want you to send me weekly deals that have been on market for 100+ days and have not sold. Why am I telling you to go on market for 100+ days? That person wants to sell. You are not convincing them to sell. They've already told you they want to sell as a consumer by listing the property on the market. They're just looking for the right solution. You find the deal, you see if they're interested in selling, you see if they would take either a reduced listing price, or if you give them their full listing price, would they be open to an alternative option, not creative financing, alternative options. If they're open to an alternative option, you get them on the phone with somebody like Todd. You get them on the phone with somebody like myself. You get them on the phone with somebody that is either a part of the Sub 2 community or the Action Takers community, and we will help you bring this deal to the closing table. We will help you learn what paperwork is necessary, and we will help you get your first HUD statement and closing check.
And he just laid it all out there for you. I mean, it's really sounds simple. It is. It's that simple, but sticking with it isn't for some reason. It's because it doesn't happen quick enough for some of us. Some of us think it should happen overnight, and it's not an overnight process.
100%. And I'll tell you, one of my biggest struggles was that there were so many different ways that you could make money that I would be looking at every single way. I can wholesale, I can buy and hold, I can sell a note, I can do this. Find that one thing, those on market deals for 100 days. You've never done a deal, only do that for 6 months. I want you to send me the listings every week. I'm gonna call those people, see if they're still interested in selling. They're interested in selling, you have the possibility to do a deal. Just get with someone who's closed deals. You could find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook name is Tasheen Collins. My Instagram is Tasheen_on_humanity. You can find me on Instagram. I'd love to joint venture with people. I love to pay referral fees for leads. Guess what? If you're too scared to call the seller, have your agent send you deals that have been on market for 100+ days in your backyard so that you are boots on the ground. I am telling you, whoever's going to watch this video in the future, I personally, as long as the deal permits it, will give you a $1,500 referral fee for every lead that you bring me that the seller is willing to sell. They've been on market. They have been on market for 100+ days, and the agent sent you this information. If you can show me all of this so that I can hold you accountable, and we make and close a deal with that seller, and you did not talk to the seller, we will pay you a referral fee for that lead.
He just put a challenge out there for the newbies, man. Just the possibility, just find a possibility of a deal and bring it to some people, and you can make out. You can make some money. So it's fully possible. Tasheen is a prime example, a shining example in the Sub 2 community about if you stay persistent and consistent and you take action, things are going to happen for you. It will work. I mean, I'm not just saying it's just going to fall out of the sky and happen for you, but it kind of does. But I mean, you've taken the action, you've learned what you needed to learn, you take the steps, you do the networking, you talk to the people you need to talk to, and it's going to work out. And Tasheen proves that on a daily basis. So appreciate you being on here again. I'm gonna have to cut it short. We started a little late, and I got another appointment I'm gonna have to get to here in a few minutes. So I do appreciate your time. And he gave us his Instagram and everything. I'm gonna have that in the description. Also, tell us about your nonprofit. Name of the nonprofit. You have it organized and named yet?
So we have not named it yet, bouncing back and forth between a couple of names, and also bouncing back and forth between some ChatGPT recommendations. So we have not officially picked a name, but we are, looking at a couple of different names. So we will have one probably in about the next week or so.
And y'all keep an eye on Tasheen, man. He is kicking ass, and I got to talk to him a whole lot more now. You just opened up some ideas for me, so we got to talk. When do you got time? You got some time tomorrow, maybe, to talk a little bit?
Yeah, just
Okay, cool.
you got my info. Shoot
Yeah.
me a text. I'm always open to talking to people that are taking action. So if you're not taking action, your call's getting declined. If you're taking action, let's hit the green button and let's take action together.
Right. So if you got some things you need closed, bring them to Tasheen. He can help you out. Don't bring just an address. But if you do bring just an address, you still got an opportunity to make a little money. He just told you that also. But if referral fees too. So appreciate your time, man, and keep doing what you're doing. Love it. I love seeing it. I love seeing the posts. It just blows me away. And you're a hell of an inspiration for me, man. And I appreciate all you do.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me again. And thank you for, putting together this platform for individuals like myself and for being consistent with the platform. So I thank you for that. And let's continue to, deliver this knowledge that we can to your audience and work with new people that are coming into the community and, make this a reality instead of just a dream.
Yeah, if you start a course on doing nonprofits, man, I want you to bring it to the group to for Action Takers Only. We start pushing it, help you out with that too. So let me know what you got going on with that.
100%. We will definitely get something put together, and I'll be following up with you regarding that.
Cool. Good talking to you. I'm going to end this right now. We'll have to let it download, and then we'll move on.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Y'all. Thank you, Tasheen, and y'all have a good evening.
You too.